I have Garmin Panoptix set up on my kayak, and I use it for basically looking in front of me. A lot of people have it so they can turn it. They have it on a mount so they can turn it and see 360 degrees. With having the Hobie 360 drive, I just turn my boat and I cast in front of me. But what we're looking at right now is we're looking out in front of my kayak. I have it set up to 80 feet. And right now there's not a whole lot going on out there. But you know, it'll show you out, and it'll show you grids how far away from the boat each individual thing is. So there's a little bit of bait right here, and there's a fish right here in between 20 and 40 feet. So I know if I want to target those fish, I adjust my cast to, you know, 50 feet, get it down to depth, say with a jerk bait or something like that, since they're suspended, and basically just bring it right in that strike zone. And I can watch on the screen, as you can see, more fish popping up here in that 20 to 40 feet out zone. I can keep it in that strike zone a little bit longer. What I have set up here on the kayak is a 1-inch PVC pipe with a T-handle. And what this T-handle is pointing is telling me where I'm pointed at. I have it set up on a ram claw mount with a 1.5-inch ram ball on the short arm, and that allows me, if I need to, I can flip it up and put it inside here when I'm not using it. I can store it like that, keep it that way in travel and in tow. And if I really need to, I can get 180 degrees of view by loosening this up a little bit and just turning the mount. As long as I'm pointed, I know which way the T-handle is pointing is wherever the transducer is facing. A lot of people put it on a trolling motor and they can turn it like that. A lot of people use some aftermarket mounts that I know, I'm not sure of the brand, but I know the Dugout sells one, and I think Trey Leach from Innovative Sportsman made one. I'm not sure if it's for sale yet. This has worked for me, so I just don't have any need to change it. I've gotten used to it, and at this point I'm just kind of set in my ways. But there are some better options, but this one works for me, and it was very low budget. I think the most I spent on it was for the ram mount, so otherwise I think it was like maybe $15 to make. So, but the Panoptix is awesome. I mean, you can see fish moving in front of you. You can see fish coming in you know, into your range of view. Like, you can scan a target area and like a row of docks. If we had docks, that would be amazing to show, because you can scan each individual piling and see if there's anything on it. And that really can cut down your time when you're fishing a tournament. That's what I use it the most for, is cutting down time that I spend on an individual spot. Because if I'm fishing an area and I use the Panoptix and don't see anything, there's really no need to stay there for fish that aren't there. So it really helps me cut down on the time that I spend in areas that may or may not be productive for me. So a couple things with the Panoptix that you know, that I've learned by using it. It's very telling of what the fish want. So if, you know, like a day like today, when you see dots on the screen and they're not moving at all, that's telling you that these fish are not very active. You know, they're not moving around, they're not swimming, they're just kind of suspended, staying still, and it really tells you that you need to adjust your presentation if you're not doing something that's similar to that. You know, for this, today, like, it's, you know, every fish that I've marked has been 5 to 10 feet off the bottom and just sitting there. So to get down to them, what I've done is I got a blade bait on, and you can see on the screen my blade bait is right there, and there's a couple little bait fish just to the left of my blade bait. My blade bait's the one that's bouncing. But you can see even the dots, they're not moving a lot. You know, my blade bait is the only thing really moving down there a lot. You know, this would probably be, right now, my blade bait not moving looks like the fish in the lake, because this motion is not what any of the other fish are doing. Here's a mark right there. And it faded out, so it must have moved out of the cone. There's some more right over here. There's a couple that are up here. I think these are smaller bait fish. And then there's some bait further out, about 60 feet. There's a school of bait. But I haven't marked anything of significant size yet that would indicate that it's a bigger fish or a bass. In 2020, when I won at Lake Seminole, I used this system extensively because I could see the fish. They were up in the water column, very close to the surface, very close to the shoreline, and you could tell they were moving a lot. They were moving back and forth, in and out of cover, and it told me that, you know, if I skipped the jackhammer up into the trees and worked it through the trees, they were probably either going to follow it out or they were going to bite it. And sure enough, they did. You know, the second day of Lake Seminole, it helped me even more because I was trying to do the same pattern that I was doing on day one, and it wasn't working. And I adjusted the depth of the Panoptix to look a little bit deeper, and I located the fish. They had just moved about 15 feet deeper in the water column, but they were still doing the same thing. They just moved deeper. So it helped me target those fish that were, you know, the same fish that were there on day one, but they just moved a little bit deeper in the water column, which saved my tournament and helped me win, because if I would have kept doing what I was doing on day one, I would have ended with probably 2 or 3 fish. So